So the unexpected always blows in from nowhere, bringing great tests to people and their leaders. But if you notice in this crisis, the emphasis is on the newspapers and in the city is on SMEs. Now, businesses are the entities that are born, replicate and die in the economy as humans do in the environment. You would then think that businesses should follow a model of almost evolutionary diversity, but they don't. They find it easier to follow plans than adapt to circumstances, and that's the price we pay for hierarchy. That's what we've seen in Lehman's, that's what we've seen in all these other things, this hierarchical structure of leadership, but that will not pertain. The notion of leadership in the 21st century is like the political notion. Compromise must be the paradigm. You see that with the Europeans running around and demanding they all meet in New York. They're correct. The interconnectedness of this economy is brutal. The Americans aren't buying 3,000 factories close in one single area of China. There are no labour laws. The workers are rioting. The police are called in. The party can't deal with it. Hierarchical fixed structures. It doesn't work. And the entrepreneur, the leader, picks up an idea. Ideas are everywhere. They're sort of the intellectual spores that float about and pollinate in the culture sphere, if you like. And you grab them. They're the intellectual moments for now. They can't happen before this moment. So Leonardo didn't invent the net. Tim Berners-Lee did. It would have been wildly inappropriate to invent the net. There wasn't the mechanism. But society demanded something like it, and Tim invents the greatest intellectual tool probably ever in the history of humanity. And in 16 years, it has utterly radicalized the way we are. It has completely changed the notion of leadership. The concept of leadership in the 21st century is demotic and democratic. It is a hyper-democracy. And it's just as well because we don't accept ideologies anymore. The nonsensical rhetoric of politicians of the pre-war era we look at now bewilderingly as ridiculous. Now, leadership must be seen in the 21st century as a notion of individual responsibility. How else do we get climate change? Laws. How do we do that? Will they be imposed? They can't be. We just say no. And why do we say that? Because leadership has stopped being vertical, it has become horizontal. And that's why these giant businesses are falling over. They don't have the adaptability. I read some of the notes of Branson's talk here whenever he did it. And Branson said that as soon as he's got more than 100 employees in one company, he separates them off and builds up another little unit of 100. Well, Richard is actually doing that, so if one starts failing, he can flog the other one. That's exactly what he's doing. But still, it kind of works. And this hyper-democracy is real because we have at least as much information as anybody supposedly in the hierarchical structures. And should we want that information, we can get it. Even if it's wrong, it informs our opinion. And we can immediately form communities around these ideas. So vertical leadership, which politicians flounder with, the rise in the NGO structures is amazing. The reason that people like Bono and I have access is because now there are several actors in decision making. I mean, we don't represent anything except a constituency that talks about the issue of poverty, which is cardinal, critical in this world. It is absolutely critical. It is one of the great existential problems in my view, along with finance and nuclear disarmament and climate change. Probably more than all of them. The bottom billion will dictate the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the poor always win.